YouTube was good. Thanks for checking in. You locked into the Major Cutz haircut tutorial. My name is D. I'm the owner of Major Cutz Barbershop. And now we're about to take y'all through a tutorial of a medium fade. Peace. Alright, so first thing you want to do is go ahead on and comb your client's hair. It's very important that you look at the full texture of the hair. Make sure there's no diseases or scabies, anything like that, monkeypox. Double checking all that. So comb through that hair real good. Make sure it's clean enough for you to even do the service. And so his hair curly, so I made sure to like double comb it. Alright, so next you want to go ahead on and set your guideline. This is going to be your first guideline, so you want to start with your closed blade. And usually I use my clippers first, depending on the hair texture. And then I go back with my trimmer, just to kind of go ahead on and knock out the rest of that bulk. But as you can see, I'm going through it with my wall magic clips, which is like my go-to clipper when I'm dealing with bulk. Because magic clips are really good for bulk. So I take my magic clips, I go around the scalp, creating that first bald guideline. And I make sure that it's even, and I'm double checking to make sure it's even. I'm going back over it more than once, because once I put my trimmer on it, I'm just trying to knock out the rest of that hair to make it completely bald. Once I hit it with my trimmer, I'm not gonna play games with it. I'm just gonna go straight in with that trimmer and knock out the rest of that hair that's on the back of that neck. Next up, I got my trimmer, and I'm using the Barbershop Gold FXs, which is like my #1 trimmer when I'm dealing with like adults or teens. I don't use these clippers on little kids for the most part, because they are sharp and you don't have to sharpen those blades. They come fresh out the box, ready to go. So these are my go-to when I'm lining people up. Also when I'm like creating that bald line. And as you can see, I'm going back over and over. If I miss a spot, I'm going right back to it and I'm knocking it out, making sure that that scalp is completely bald. And one thing I like about my Gold FX is that it does get the hair bald, but it doesn't leave those razor bumps. Cause see, I didn't even have to really zero these out. They're close to zero, but not all the way. So next, you wanna go ahead on and create your first guideline, which is just gonna be an open blade. And for this, I'm using my masters. Notice that I'm going ahead on and I'm brushing that hair down, making sure that it's actually bald. And I'm gonna take my Andis Masters cordless, and I'm gonna go ahead on, and also I put a fade blade on it so it's flat. And I'm gonna go ahead on and create that guideline. If you got a pair of Andis Masters, that fade blade is the truth. I got a pair of Masters with the fade blade, then I have the regular blade on my other one. But my go-to for that first guideline is gonna be that fade blade. It just leaves the hair crisp. I mean, look at the hair, it's just like falling off. They're sharp, but not too sharp to where they're cutting the client. I mean, it's the perfect clipper to use to set that first open guideline with that open blade. Alright, next, after I've already went ahead on and did that open guideline, I'm gonna take my clipper halfway and I'm gonna go ahead on and try to knock out that bulk. You can see me going in with that clipper lever halfway, knocking out the bulk and getting rid of that line. So you can see me taking my clipper, and it may look like I'm putting my clipper all the way on the head like flat, but really I'm using kind of like the corner of the blade to just kind of flick that line out. See how I'm going in with it and I'm flicking it, and I'm doing it over and over again, adjusting the blade if necessary. It's important that you learn how to adjust that blade if necessary. Next, I take my zero and I go up and I'm flicking out. Notice the flick of the wrist. I'm flicking out. I'm not going flat against the head. I'm flicking out. I'm getting rid of that excess bulk. I'm knocking it out. I'm taking it out. I'm adding a new guideline with that 0. And I'm going all the way around. Same steps all the way around. I'm brushing the hair down. It's important that you keep a brush. You're not a barber if you don't have a brush or a comb in your other hand while you're holding that clipper. It's important that you comb that hair, double check those guidelines to make sure that you're actually knocking out those guidelines and not leaving any extra lines. You don't want to take the clipper and be too hard on the head. You want to use the corners of those blades. Right now I got my clipper guard halfway closed and I'm knocking out that bulk. I'm turning my clipper toward the way the hair grows. I'm going against the grain by turning my clipper. Look at the way his hair grows. You have to watch and look how your client hair grows. You don't want to take your clippers and just be going up. If his hair don't grow straight up, then why are you going against the grain trying to go straight up? There's no way possible. You have to go with the way the hair grows. Notice I'm taking it and I'm flicking out. I'm turning my clipper as I'm knocking out that bulk, getting rid of that guideline. I got my clipper halfway and I'm knocking out that guideline. And I'm brushing at the same time, not taking no breaks with the brush. Blow drying the hair. You know what I mean? Making sure that I can see the canvas. Next, I take my magic clips, because that's what I use to knock out that 0 bulb. I got my magic clips halfway, and I'm just using the corners to clean it up. All I'm doing is cleaning up at this point. The guideline is already set. At this point, I'm cleaning up. This ain't nothing but clean up work, which is very important when you fading. There's no way that you can do a fade without doing that cleanup work. You want to make sure that all your guidelines are crisp before you move on to the next step. It's a step-by-step process. The only way it could go wrong is if you're not following the steps. And it's the same step with every guideline. I'm taking that brush and I'm holding the top of his afro up, making sure that I'm not going up too high with that 0. So next I take my 1.5. Now I'm just taking out that bulk completely. And I'm still using my Andis Masters fade blade. I'm knocking the bulk all the way out, shaping this afro. I'm shaping his afro to go straight up. I'm going straight up with the clipper. I'm going straight up and flicking out, really, but mainly at the bottom of that hairline at the base, I'm going straight up and flicking out, straight up and flicking out. Then I take my number 1 and I go ahead on and knock out that bulk that I left from my 1.5. Right now I got the one on. I'm just knocking out the bulk that I left with my 1.5. At this point, all I got left is cleanup work at this point. The fade is practically there. You can see the haircut. It ain't too much work that need to be done at this point. Nothing but cleanup work. You take that one, you turn it you turn your clipper the way the head grow, and you go ahead on and you knock out that bulk that you left with that 1.5. And that's just my speed way of doing it. Because I like to work fast, but then again I like to work slow. And look, I'm looking at the bulk, I'm looking at my errors, just for me to go back and fix it. Now I got my half on. I'm taking that 0.5 and I'm knocking out the bulk that I left from the 1. At this point, I'm fading down. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because of his hair texture. I'm taking that 0.5 and I'm knocking out that bulk that I left from the 1. And I'm just going around the head in the same steps, turning my blade, playing with my lever. I'm basically just doing what God told me to do. I'm knocking it out. I grab my wall magic clips again, because that's what I use with the 0.5 to do my cleanup work. because every clipper cut different. You need a few clippers in your arsenal. You can't be in a shot with just Andis or just walls. Nah, you got to switch it up. Every clipper cut different. So I'm taking my 0.5 and I'm going ahead on and I'm knocking that bulk out. I'm getting the rest of it out. My Andis Masters wasn't doing it for me. I went ahead on and threw on my walls, and now I'm knocking out that bulk. Same steps. Playing with the lever, going around the head, same exact steps. There's nothing to it but to do it. It's the same steps all the way around. Notice how I'm playing with that lever and I got my brush. Alright, now it's time to really get into it, because now we really gotta clean up this fade. I'm picking the hair out, because now I gotta not only do I gotta clean up the fade, I gotta turn right back around after I clean up the fade, and I gotta go ahead on and knock out the top. Shaping the hair, but notice that I got a bottle of water. You wanna make sure that you got your water when you're dealing with ethnic hair, just due to the fact that when the hair is wet, it's fully extended, and that's gonna help you when you shape it. For me, I like the freehand method, which everybody cannot do the freehand, but that's just the way that I prefer. There are different tools that you can use, but freehand for me is just the easiest route to go. So I'm going around his afro and I'm freehanding it to try to get it to shape up a little bit. And I'm going all around it to get that good shape in there. So and I'm dousing it with water. You know, I'm not, you know, being light with it. I'm being heavy with it, because he got ethnic hair, it's curly. The client, his hair just curls right back under. It's soft, but when you shaping the hair, unless you picking it out fully, there's no way to really get a good shaping to it. So I'm making sure that his hair is definitely like picked out. You can see he's kind of like, you know, I had to reassure the client that I got him. I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm trying to get it done. We finally got the hair picked out how it needed to be. There's another tool that I like to use, which is my shears. I use that for shaping as well, which you'll see in a minute. Right now I sprayed some holding spray on his lineup, then I hit it with a blow dryer just to like get that hair to lay down, and I'm using my brush, as you can see, which is very important if you're using that spritz to spray it down, and then you use that brush and that blow dryer. You want that hair to lay down flat, because with ethnic hair, it's gonna raise back up. You wanna make sure that hair is practically glued to the forehead in order to get this lineup to be perfect. And look at it, it's precise. It's no discrepancy in the lineup right now. It's a one-shot deal. I'm brushing the forehead to make sure he doesn't get any hair in his eyes. I'm being careful. Look at this lineup. There's no denying the lineup. Like, I don't come to play games when it come time for these lineups. Like, look at the client's head. Like, he finna go to school and be that guy. You know what I'm saying? The lineup is the most important part. Now I'm headed back in for this cleanup work, because I'm noticing that it was a little bulky, which that's fine while I'm doing that lineup. But now that I got the lineup done, I noticed that I gotta go back, which is all a part of the cleanup. You wanna make sure that you do that once over on your client. Do not let the client get out of your chair without doing a once over. And see, here go my scissors. These are actually dog groomers. They're dog grooming shears, which is great for afros. I'm contouring his afro. I'm contouring the afro. I'm shaping it. The shears are already bent to give it that shape that I need automatically. going back in with that 1.5 because I noticed I left a little bit of both. I'm going right back in with the 1.5. There's no reason why the client should get out of your chair without that once over. This is all a part of that once over. This is just making sure that your clients getting the full experience. I'm going back in with a number 1, making sure that that bulk is taken out. I want this fade to be transitional. There needs to be no discrepancy in the cut. I'm going back over it. And I'm back shaping it. I'm back shaping it. You cannot, if you do the once over and it's not working, do a second over, a third over. The client does not need to get out of your chair with his hair not looking perfect. At the end of the day, you want your client to be like, yeah, I got my hair cut at Major Cutz. D cut my hair. You know what I'm saying? Your reputation is on the line when your client walks out of your shop. Your reputation is on the line. This is your livelihood. I'm going back in. I'm taking whatever extra bulk that's on his scalp off. I'm taking it off. Whatever extra bulk he got, I'm removing it. He's not getting out of the chair unless it's perfect. And the client is happy. I'm knocking out those extra little pieces of hairs that's poking out. I'm in the front of his head making sure that this lineup can be seen. I'm going up in the front of his afro, making sure that it's not covering his lineup. I want people to see his lineup and be amazed. I'm going back in with my blow dryer, blowing the hair off. I'm going back in with my curved shears, making sure that his hair is level. I'm going back in. You cannot be afraid to go back in. If it don't look perfect, go back in. You double checking in the mirrors to make sure that everything in your reflection is clear and good to go. I'm brushing the hair. I'm brushing the hair. I'm laying that hair down so I can make sure that all of my T's are crossed and my dyes are odded. I'm going back in with my masters, making sure that there's no discrepancy with that initial guideline. Right now, these are just the final touches on his haircut. And that's all it takes is for a barber to actually care about the client's scalp and take that extra effort. This is nothing but extra effort. Because really, if I was cutting on post or a military base, 7 minutes, he would have got whatever discrepancies he needed to get because you on a time limit. But I'm off post. I'm back in my zone. I'm going in with my zero guard on my wall, double checking those guidelines, making sure that there's no lines left in his scalp. He's in JROTC. He got a formation tomorrow at school. He got an inspection. He trying to be fresh for JROTC. He trying to be top flight. So I'm going back in. There gonna be no discrepancies when I finish with Lil Man's cut. Whatever discrepancy that's there, I'm knocking it out. I'm killing the game. I'm going back in, open blade. Halfway, I'm playing with the lever to make sure that I'm killing these discrepancies that I see in my mirror. And I'm knocking out that line that's been in his scalp since I did the lineup. Because I already noticed it. I knew what I needed to do. I'm just going back and making sure that it's done.
It looks like you lost another one.
The final touches. This is the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Once you do that, you on your fifth over at this point. You in overtime at this point. Now look at your work. Look at how crisp the lineup is. He looking in the camera, he like, wow. He finna be smiling come Monday. And this only happens at Major Cutz. We icy out here.